Dr. Marcus Chen floated in the observation deck of the research ship Endeavour, watching the stars through the thick glass. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, but he didn't care. Something was wrong with the sensor readings, and it bothered him. "There's definitely something out there," he told Captain Rodriguez over the comm. "The computers keep saying it's just space junk, but the energy signature is all wrong." Captain Rodriguez sighed. "Marcus, we're already 3 days behind schedule. The Science Council is expecting us back with those mineral samples from Kepler 442b. Just give me 2 hours. If I'm wrong, I'll personally write the delay report." Marcus had been studying alien life for 15 years. He had a feeling about these things, and his feelings were usually right. The captain knew this too. "Fine, 2 hours. But if Admiral Hayes asks why we're late, you're explaining it to him." Marcus grinned and headed to the bridge. The object was about 50,000 kilometers away, drifting slowly through space. As they got closer, his excitement grew. This wasn't space junk at all. "Captain, that's a ship," Marcus said, pointing at the main screen. "Look at those markings. Those are Catherian symbols." Everyone on the bridge went quiet. The Catherians were one of the most powerful alien races in the galaxy. They looked somewhat like humans, but their skin was made of a crystal-like material that could change color. They were incredibly smart and completely emotionless. Most humans found them cold and frightening. "Why would a Catherian ship be out here?" asked Lieutenant Park, the navigation officer. "This is the middle of nowhere." The ship was beautiful in a strange way. It looked like it was carved from a single piece of blue crystal, with smooth curves and sharp edges. But something was definitely wrong with it. Pieces were missing from the hull, and it was spinning slowly, completely out of control. "I'm detecting life signs," reported Dr. Sarah Kim from the science station. "Weak, but definitely there. At least 4 individuals." Captain Rodriguez made a decision that would change everything. "All right, we're going to investigate. But we do this carefully. Everyone knows the Catherians don't like unexpected visitors." It took 3 hours to dock with the alien ship safely. Marcus suited up with the boarding team, his heart pounding with excitement and fear. He had studied Catherian culture for years, but he had never actually met one face to face. The airlock hissed as it opened, and they stepped into the Catherian ship. The corridors were tall and narrow, with walls that seemed to glow with their own soft light. Everything was perfectly clean and organized, just like Marcus had read about in the reports. But something was terribly wrong. There were scorch marks on the walls, and some of the crystal panels were cracked or missing entirely. "This way," Marcus said, following his scanner toward the life signs. "The readings are getting stronger." They found the first body in what looked like an engine room. It was a Catherian guard, his crystal skin now dull gray instead of its natural blue. His face was frozen in an expression of pain. "Radiation poisoning," Dr. Kim said after scanning the body, "but not the normal kind. This is something I've never seen before." They found 2 more dead guards before reaching the ship's medical bay. The door was partially melted, and they had to cut their way through. Inside, they found her. Princess Zarathul of the Catherian Empire lay on a medical table, barely alive. Her crystal skin, which should have been a beautiful deep blue, was now a sickly yellow-green. She was unconscious, but her breathing was shallow and rapid. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Park. "Is that really a Catherian princess?" Marcus had seen pictures of Catherian royalty before, but seeing one in person was incredible. Even dying, she was beautiful in an alien way. Her features were sharp and perfect, like a statue carved by a master artist, but her skin was all wrong. The crystal structure was breaking down, becoming cloudy and dull. Dr. Kim ran her medical scanner over the princess. "She's dying. Her blood chemistry is completely destroyed. It's like something ate away all the silicon compounds that keep her cells working." Marcus studied the readings. "It's the same radiation that killed the guards, but she got a much bigger dose. Her royal physiology is fighting it better than theirs did, but she won't last much longer." "Can we help her?" asked Captain Rodriguez. Dr. Kim shook her head. "I don't know anything about Catherian medicine. Their biology is completely different from ours. They use silicon-based blood instead of iron-based like humans. I wouldn't even know where to start." Marcus was thinking fast. He had studied Catherian biology in detail during his graduate work. Their blood was like liquid crystal, carrying both nutrients and information throughout their bodies. When it broke down, everything shut down. "What if we could give her something to bridge the gap?" he said suddenly. "Something to keep her organs working until we can get her to a real Catherian medical facility." "Like what?" Dr. Kim asked. Marcus took a deep breath. Human blood. Everyone stared at him like he had lost his mind. Marcus, that's impossible, Dr. Kim said. Human and Cytherian biology are completely incompatible. You might as well try to put motor oil in her veins. Not to replace her blood, Marcus explained, just to give her cells something to work with. Human hemoglobin carries oxygen using iron. Her crystal blood uses silicon, but at the molecular level, they both do the same job. Maybe the iron could substitute for the silicon temporarily. Captain Rodriguez frowned. Has this ever been tried before? Never, Marcus admitted. The chances of it working are probably 1,000,000 to 1. But she's going to die anyway if we don't try something. Dr. Kim checked her scanner again. Her vital signs are getting weaker. We have maybe an hour before complete system shutdown. Marcus looked at the dying princess. He thought about all the reports he had read about the Cytherians. They were cold and calculating. They saw humans as an inferior species, barely worth their attention. Most of his colleagues would say she deserved whatever had happened to her. But looking at her now, all Marcus could see was a person who was suffering and dying. It didn't matter that she was alien. It didn't matter that her people looked down on humans. She needed help, and he was the only one who might be able to give it. I'll do it, he said quietly. Marcus, this could kill you too, Dr. Kim warned. We have no idea how human blood might react with Cytherian physiology, and we definitely don't know how her blood might affect you. Then we'll be very careful, Marcus replied. Small amounts. Monitor everything. But we have to try. Captain Rodriguez was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. Do it. But at the first sign of trouble, we stop. Dr. Kim set up the transfusion equipment with shaking hands. Marcus lay down on the table next to the princess, watching her pale crystal face. Up close, he could see tiny cracks spreading across her skin like a spider web. Ready? Dr. Kim asked. Marcus nodded. Do it. The needle went into his arm, and his bright red human blood began flowing through the tube toward the dying alien princess. As the first drops entered her system, Marcus held his breath and hoped he wasn't about to kill them both. Outside the medical bay, the Endeavour continued its slow drift through space, carrying its crew toward a future none of them could imagine. The first drops of human blood entered Princess Zarathul's crystal veins, and Marcus watched the monitors nervously. For 10 seconds, nothing happened. Then everything changed. The princess's skin began to glow softly from within. The sickly yellow-green color started fading, replaced by something Marcus had never seen before. Instead of the normal blue crystal skin of Cytherians, warm amber veins appeared under the surface, pulsing gently with each heartbeat. Her vital signs are stabilizing, Dr. Kim said in amazement. Blood pressure is coming up. Brain activity is increasing. Marcus, I think it's actually working. Captain Rodriguez leaned over the monitors. How is this possible? Every textbook says human and Cytherian biology are completely incompatible. Marcus felt strange. A warm, tingling sensation was spreading up his arm from where the needle connected him to the princess. It wasn't painful, just different. Like tiny electric currents were running through his blood. Maybe the textbooks are wrong, he said quietly. Maybe we're more alike than anyone thought. Princess Zarathul's eyes suddenly opened. They were the most beautiful eyes Marcus had ever seen, like looking into deep blue crystal with flecks of gold dancing inside. She stared at him for a moment, confusion clear on her face. Then she spoke, her voice like musical chimes. What have you done to me? Dr. Kim quickly checked her translator device. She's speaking perfect galactic standard. That's odd. Most Cytherians refuse to use human languages. I can understand you perfectly, the princess said, looking directly at Marcus. More than understand. I can feel what you're feeling. Marcus's eyes widened. What do you mean? Your emotions. Your thoughts. They're flowing into me with your blood. She tried to sit up, and Dr. Kim gently helped her. You're afraid, but also hopeful. You're worried about me, but you don't even know me. Why? Marcus didn't know how to answer. He had never expected to have a conversation with a Cytherian, let alone one who could somehow read his emotions. Because you needed help, he said simply. And I could help you. The princess stared at him like he had said something impossible. That makes no sense. I am Cytherian. You are human. We are not allies. My people consider your species to be inferior. I know, Marcus said. But you were dying. Something flickered across her crystal features. For just a moment she looked almost sad. Marcus wasn't sure if Catherians could feel sadness. I don't understand, she whispered. These feelings you're giving me. They're so strange, so warm. Is this what humans call compassion? Before Marcus could answer, alarms started blaring throughout the ship. Captain Rodriguez's comm device crackled to life. Captain, we have a problem, came Lieutenant Park's voice. Long-range sensors are picking up a Catherian fleet approaching fast. 12 ships, including what looks like a battle cruiser. The princess's expression immediately changed, becoming cold and hard. They're coming for me, and they will kill all of you for what you've done. What do you mean? Dr. Kim asked. I am Princess Zarathul, heir to the crystal throne of the Catherian Empire. My blood is considered sacred. By mixing it with human blood, you have committed the highest form of blasphemy in our culture. She looked at Marcus with something that might have been regret. They will execute you slowly. Marcus felt his stomach drop. We were just trying to save your life. I know, she said softly. And that makes this even more tragic. You showed me kindness, and now you will die for it. Captain Rodriguez was already heading for the bridge. How long until they get here? 6 hours, maybe 7, the princess replied. General Vortax commands the fleet. He is my uncle, and he has never shown mercy to anyone, not even family. As the transfusion continued, something even stranger began happening. Marcus could feel changes in his own body. His vision seemed sharper, and he could see electromagnetic patterns in the ship's electronics that he had never noticed before. When he looked at the princess, he could somehow sense the quantum energy fields that her crystal skin generated. This is impossible, Dr. Kim muttered, scanning both of them. Marcus, your blood is changing too. The princess's silicon-based compounds are bonding with your iron cells. You're both becoming something new. The princess touched her chest, where the amber veins were now clearly visible through her crystal skin. I can feel things I never felt before. Colors seem brighter. Sounds have emotional tones. Is this how humans always experience the world? More or less, Marcus said. He was fascinated by what was happening to them both, but the approaching fleet worried him. Princess, why were you out here alone? What happened to your ship? Her expression darkened. I discovered something terrible about my people, something that would change everything if other species knew about it. She paused, as if deciding whether to trust him. We are not just traitors, as the galaxy believes. We are killers. What do you mean? The radiation that poisoned me. It came from weapons my people are building. Weapons designed to slowly kill human populations while leaving your worlds intact for us to claim. Her voice was barely a whisper. I was carrying evidence to present to the Galactic Council. My own uncle sabotaged my ship to stop me. Marcus felt sick. How many human colonies? All of them eventually. The plan has been in development for 50 years. My father knew. My grandfather knew. They all knew. Tears began forming in her crystal eyes. Something Dr. Kim's scanner indicated was physically impossible for Catherians. But I never felt guilt about it until now. Until your emotions taught me what guilt means. The transfusion was complete, but Marcus felt like he was still connected to the princess somehow. He could sense her thoughts and feelings just as she could sense his. It was overwhelming and wonderful at the same time. We have to warn Earth, he said. With what proof? She replied. My ship's databanks were destroyed. My testimony alone will not be enough. The Catherian Empire has spent decades building trust with the human government. Captain Rodriguez returned to the medical bay. I've sent a priority message to Earth Command, but they won't reach us in time. We're on our own against that fleet. The princess stood up slowly, still weak but much stronger than before. The amber veins in her skin pulsed brighter when she moved. There is something else. The radiation weapons aren't the only secret my people are hiding. What else? Marcus asked. Centuries ago, before we became what we are now, Catherians were different. We felt emotions. We created art. We loved and laughed and cried. She touched Marcus's hand, and he felt a jolt of connection between them. The ruling class used technology to suppress those abilities in our population. They said emotions made us weak. Dr. Kim looked up from her scanners in amazement. Marcus, the changes in your blood aren't just physical. Your neural patterns are showing quantum entanglement with the princess's brainwaves. You're literally sharing consciousness. And I'm remembering things, the princess said wonderingly. Ancient memories locked away in our genetic code. Memories of what we used to be before we became cold and calculating. Your blood is awakening parts of my mind that have been asleep for generations. Marcus felt it too. Through their connection, he was seeing flashes of ancient Cytherian civilization. Beautiful crystal cities filled with art and music. Cytherians who laughed and loved and danced under alien stars. That's why they're coming to kill us, he realized. Not just because we mixed our blood, but because we proved that Cytherians can feel again. If word gets out, the entire empire would change overnight, the princess finished. Billions of Cytherians would demand the return of their emotions. The ruling class would lose control. Captain Rodriguez checked his watch. 5 hours until that fleet arrives. What do we do? Marcus looked at Princess Zarathul, feeling her determination through their bond. We fight. Princess Zarathul stood in the Endeavor's main briefing room, facing the senior officers. The amber veins in her crystal skin glowed softly as she spoke, and Marcus could feel her emotions through their strange new connection. She was terrified but also determined. The weapon that nearly killed me is called the Silent Death, she began. It looks like normal cosmic radiation, so no one suspects anything when colonies start getting sick. People think it's just bad luck or natural causes. Captain Rodriguez leaned forward. How long does it take to kill? 5 to 10 years for a full population. Long enough for my people to make careful plans for settlement. Short enough that humans don't have time to develop immunity. Her voice was steady, but Marcus felt her shame and disgust. We've already begun testing it on 3 colonies in the Outer Rim. Dr. Kim pulled up a star chart. Which colonies? New Brisbane, Haven Colony, and Kepler 442b. The princess looked directly at Marcus. The same system where you collected your mineral samples last week? Marcus felt his blood turn cold. That's impossible. The radiation readings were completely normal. The Silent Death is designed to be undetectable by human sensors. Only Cytherian equipment can identify it. She paused, touching the amber veins on her arm. But I think I might be able to detect it now. These changes in my body, they're giving me new abilities. Lieutenant Park spoke up from the communications station. Ma'am, I hate to interrupt, but I'm picking up the Cytherian fleet on long-range sensors. They'll be here in 4 hours. Through the briefing room's main window, they could see the enemy ships approaching. Even at this distance, they looked intimidating. 12 vessels arranged in perfect formation, their crystal hulls reflecting starlight like deadly jewels. The flagship is the Crystal Judgment, Princess Zarathul said. General Vortax's personal warship. He raised me after my parents died, but he never loved me. To him, I was just a tool to maintain the royal bloodline. Marcus reached out and took her hand. The moment their skin touched, he felt a surge of shared memories. Through her eyes, he saw a young Cytherian girl growing up in a palace of living crystal, surrounded by cold, emotionless adults who treated her like a precious object rather than a person. He'll try to capture me alive, she continued, but he'll kill all of you without hesitation unless... Unless what? Captain Rodriguez asked. Unless we can prove to him that the change in me is beneficial to the Cytherian Empire. She looked around the room at the human faces staring back at her. My new abilities might be exactly what my people need to defeat our enemies. Marcus frowned. What enemies? I thought the Cytherian Empire was the most powerful force in the galaxy. We are. But there are things in deep space that even we fear. Her expression grew dark. The Devourers. Ancient machines left behind by a dead civilization. They consume entire solar systems, turning matter into energy for their endless expansion. Dr. Kim's eyes widened. The theoretical alien AI threat that xenobiologists have been warning about for decades? Not theoretical, very real. They've been moving toward inhabited space for the past century. My people estimate they'll reach the edge of Cytherian territory in 50 years. The princess looked directly at Marcus. Our computer models say we cannot defeat them with pure logic and calculation. We need something they don't have. Creativity, Marcus said, understanding immediately. Intuition. The ability to think outside patterns. Exactly. The things that human blood has awakened in me. She stood up, her crystal skin brightening. I can feel solutions to problems that my people cannot solve. I can see patterns that make no logical sense but somehow work perfectly. Captain Rodriguez checked his watch. That's a fascinating conversation for later. Right now, we need to figure out how to survive the next 4 hours. The princess walked over to the ship's main computer terminal. May I? Dr. Kim nodded, and Princess Zarathul placed her hands on the interface. Immediately, the screens lit up with data patterns that none of the humans had ever seen before. "What are you doing?" Marcus asked, "Learning about your ship, understanding how human technology works." Her eyes were closed, but the amber veins in her skin pulsed brighter. "Your engineering is so different from ours. Chaotic, but elegant. You build machines that shouldn't work, but somehow they do." Through their connection, Marcus could feel what she was experiencing. She was seeing the Endeavor's systems not as separate components, but as a living network of interconnected possibilities, places where human intuition had guided the design in ways that pure logic never could. "Amazing," she whispered. "No wonder your species has survived and thrived despite having inferior technology. You think with your hearts as much as your minds." Suddenly, the ship's alarms began blaring. Lieutenant Park called out from his station. "The Cytherian fleet is hailing us. General Vortax wants to speak with the princess." Princess Zarathul straightened her shoulders. "Put him through. But remember, do not show any fear. Cytherians respect strength above all else." The main screen flickered to life, showing a tall, imposing Cytherian with skin like polished silver. His eyes were cold blue crystals that seemed to look right through them. When he spoke, his voice was like ice cracking. "Zarathul, you have brought shame upon our bloodline." "Uncle," she replied calmly, "I have brought evolution to our bloodline." General Vortax's expression didn't change, but Marcus could sense the princess's nervousness through their bond. "You have contaminated yourself with inferior human genetics. The Council has declared you unfit to rule. Surrender yourself and I will make your death quick." "Look at me, Uncle. Really look." She held up her arm, showing the amber veins glowing beneath her crystal skin. "Do I look weakened to you?" For the first time, uncertainty flickered across the general's features. "What has happened to you?" "I have become what our people could be if we stopped fearing change. I can see things now that pure logic cannot reveal. I can solve problems that have puzzled our greatest minds for centuries." She paused. "I can see a way to defeat the Devourers." The general's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. Our best computers have run millions of simulations. There is no viable strategy." Through their connection, Marcus felt the princess draw on his memories of human military tactics, strategies that didn't make logical sense but had won impossible battles throughout human history. "What if we don't fight them directly?" she said. "What if we make them fight each other? The Devourers are a unified intelligence. They cannot be turned against themselves. Not with logic, no, but with emotion, with creativity, with the ability to see patterns that exist outside of pure calculation." She smiled, and for the first time since Marcus had met her, she looked truly happy. "I can see the solution, Uncle, but I need human help to make it work." General Vortax was quiet for a long moment. Behind him, Marcus could see other Cytherian officers watching the conversation with obvious interest. "Even if what you say is true," the general finally said, "the High Council will never accept contamination of the royal bloodline. They will order me to destroy you and everyone aboard that ship. Then perhaps it's time for the High Council to experience what I have experienced." The princess looked directly at Marcus, and he felt her plan forming in their shared consciousness. "Uncle, I'm going to transmit something to your ship. A recording of my memories since the transfusion. See for yourself what human emotion can accomplish." "Zarathul, don't..." But she was already at the computer terminal, her hands glowing as she interfaced with both human and Cytherian technology simultaneously. Through their bond, Marcus felt her downloading her experiences into a data stream and broadcasting it to the fleet. On the screen, General Vortax suddenly staggered backward, his silver skin flickering with tiny amber sparks. Around him, other Cytherian officers began showing the same reaction. What is this feeling?" the general whispered. Princess Zarathul smiled sadly. "It's called wonder, Uncle, and once you feel it, you'll never want to go back to being cold again." The transmission hit the Cytherian fleet like a wave of pure emotion. Through the view screen, Marcus watched as the ordered formation began to break apart. Some ships continued toward the Endeavor, but others slowed or changed course entirely. General Vortax's face was no longer cold and emotionless. Amber veins flickered under his silver skin as he experienced human feelings for the first time in his life. His voice shook when he spoke. "This is overwhelming. How do humans function with so much chaos in their minds?" Princess Zarathul smiled gently. We don't see it as chaos, Uncle, we see it as possibility. Every emotion opens new paths of thought, new ways to solve problems. But not all of the Catherian ships were affected the same way. 3 vessels broke off from the main group and accelerated toward the Endeavor, their weapons charging. Those are the Purifier ships, the princess said grimly. Crews chosen for their absolute loyalty to the old ways. They've had their emotional centers surgically removed to prevent contamination. Captain Rodriguez immediately ordered battle stations. How do we fight crystal ships with human weapons? Marcus felt the answer flow through his connection with the princess. We don't fight their ships. We fight their minds. Working together, Marcus and Princess Zarathul began uploading human cultural data into the ship's transmitter. Music, art, poetry, stories of love and loss and triumph. Everything that made humanity beautiful and chaotic and wonderful. Broadcasting on all frequencies, Lieutenant Park reported. The emotional data is reaching every ship in their fleet. The results were immediate and dramatic. Across the Catherian formation, ships began changing course as their crews experienced their first taste of human emotion. Some turned back toward Catherian space. Others simply stopped, their crews overwhelmed by sensations they had never felt before. But the 3 Purifier ships kept coming, their weapons now fully charged. Incoming missiles, Dr. Kim called out. Impact in 30 seconds. Marcus closed his eyes and reached deeper into his connection with the princess. Together they dove into the Endeavor's computer systems, seeing the ship's capabilities in ways the original designers never imagined. The navigation deflectors, he said suddenly. We can reverse their polarity and create a feedback pulse. Captain Rodriguez looked confused. That's not how deflectors work. It is if you think creatively instead of logically, Princess Zarathul said. Her hands danced across the control panels, interfacing directly with the ship's quantum processors. Human engineering is beautiful because it breaks its own rules when necessary. The feedback pulse erupted from the Endeavor just as the missiles arrived. Instead of destroying them, it turned their own guidance systems against each other. The weapons began targeting the ships that had fired them, forcing the Purifiers to take evasive action. Impossible, came a transmission from one of the Purifier ships. No human vessel should be capable of that maneuver. Human vessels can't, Marcus replied over the comm. But human Catherian hybrid vessels can do things neither species imagined. More ships were arriving now. Human defense forces responding to the Endeavor's distress call, but also something unexpected. Catherian civilian ships, their crews desperate to experience the emotions they had seen in the princess's transmission. General Vortex to all ships, came the fleet commander's voice. I am ordering immediate withdrawal. Return to Catherian space. Sir, the Purifiers are not responding, reported one of his officers. They're continuing their attack. On the view screen, Marcus could see the general's internal struggle. The amber veins in his skin were brighter now, and his cold demeanor was cracking. Uncle, Princess Zarathul said gently, you're feeling guilt, regret for all the years we spent being cold and empty. You're feeling love for me that you never allowed yourself to express. Tears began forming in the general's crystal eyes. I remember when you were small. You asked me why Catherians don't smile. I told you smiling was for inferior species. You were wrong, she said simply. We're all wrong. The Catherian Empire built itself on the lie that emotions make us weak, but emotions make us complete. The general's shoulders sagged. The High Council will never accept this. They will declare us all traitors and send the entire fleet to destroy anyone who's been contaminated. Marcus felt a chill of fear, but the princess squeezed his hand reassuringly. Then we need to contaminate everyone before they can stop us. Working together, they began something that would change the galaxy forever. Using the Endeavor's communications array enhanced by Catherian quantum technology, they started broadcasting the emotional data to every Catherian world simultaneously. The response was immediate. On planet after planet, Catherians began experiencing emotions for the first time in centuries. The rigid caste system started crumbling as workers realized they could feel joy in their labor. As artists rediscovered the beauty of creation. As families learned what love actually meant. But the High Council was not going to surrender without a fight. Princess, I'm detecting massive energy signatures throughout Catherian space, Lieutenant Park reported. It looks like they're activating something big. Through her enhanced abilities, Princess Zarathul reached out across space and touched the quantum networks that connected all Catherian technology. What she saw made her gasp in horror. "The cleansing protocol," she whispered. "They're going to use the radiation weapons on their own people." Marcus felt her terror through their bond. "What is the cleansing protocol?" "If the High Council believes the Catherian race has been contaminated beyond saving, they can activate weapons hidden throughout our empire. Every Catherian who shows signs of emotional awakening will be eliminated." Her voice broke. "Billions will die to preserve the old ways." General Vortax overheard the transmission. "Zarathul, is this true? Check your own military databases, Uncle." The protocol was installed 50 years ago, when the Council first began to fear that emotions might return to our people. The general's face went through a range of expressions Marcus had never seen on a Catherian before. Shock, anger, betrayal, and finally cold determination. "All ships, new orders," he broadcast to his fleet. "We are no longer serving the High Council. As of this moment, we are rebels fighting for the soul of the Catherian Empire." Across space, the same scene was playing out on hundreds of Catherian worlds. Newly awakened civilians were facing execution by their own government, while military commanders who had discovered the ability to feel were turning against their orders. "The civil war has begun," Princess Zarathul said sadly. "My people will tear themselves apart before they accept change." Marcus stood up, an idea forming in his mind. "Not if we give them something bigger to focus on. You said the Devourers are coming. What if we use this chaos to unite both species against the real threat?" "The Devourers are still 50 years away." "Are they?" Marcus accessed the Endeavor's deep space sensors, using his enhanced abilities to see patterns that normal humans couldn't detect. "Princess, look at this data. The energy signatures we've been calling cosmic background radiation." She joined her consciousness with his, and together they examined the sensor readings. What they found made them both go cold. "They're already here," she breathed. "The Devourers have been infiltrating the galaxy for years, disguising themselves as natural phenomena." On the view screen, General Vortax looked grim. "If that's true, then both our species are already dead." "The Devourers consume everything in their path." Marcus smiled, feeling the princess's growing excitement through their bond. "Not everything, Uncle. They consume matter and energy. But they can't consume something they don't understand. What do you mean?" Princess Zarathul's amber veins blazed brighter. "Emotions, creativity, love, hope, dreams. All the things that make humans and awakened Catherians who we are. The Devourers are pure logic engines. They literally cannot comprehend the irrational." "Then we have a chance," General Vortax said. "But first we need to stop the High Council from destroying our own people." Marcus looked at the princess, feeling their shared determination. "Time to finish what we started." The final battle took place above Earth itself. The Catherian High Council had gathered every loyal ship in their fleet, determined to destroy the source of what they called the emotional plague before it could spread further. Marcus stood on the bridge of the Endeavor, watching the massive enemy formation approach. 200 Catherian warships arranged in perfect geometric patterns, their crystal hulls gleaming like deadly stars. At their head was the Council's flagship, the Eternal Order, a ship so large it looked like a small moon. "They're not even trying to hide their intentions," Captain Rodriguez said grimly. "Every weapon system is charged and ready." Princess Zarathul placed her hand on Marcus's shoulder, and he felt her calm determination flow through their bond. "They're afraid," she said quietly. "For the first time in centuries, the High Council is experiencing fear, and they don't know how to handle it." General Vortax's voice crackled over the comm from his flagship. "Zarathul, I'm reading massive energy buildups throughout the enemy fleet. They're preparing to use the silent death weapons on Earth's entire population." Marcus felt his heart sink. 3 billion humans gone in a single coordinated strike. "How long do we have?" 10 minutes before they reach optimal firing position," Dr. Kim reported from her sensor station. The rebel Catherian fleet had grown to nearly 100 ships, crews who had chosen emotion over cold logic. But they were outnumbered 2-to-1 by vessels with superior firepower. "We can't win a straight fight," Marcus said. Princess Zarathul smiled, her amber veins pulsing brighter. "Then we don't fight straight." Working together through their enhanced connection, Marcus and the princess began something that had never been attempted before. They reached out to every human ship in the Earth Defense Fleet, every awakened Catherian in the rebel armada, and began linking their consciousness together into a single network. "What are you doing?" Captain Rodriguez asked as strange energy patterns began flowing across the bridge displays. Creating something new, Marcus replied, his mind expanding as it touched dozens, then hundreds of other aware beings. A hybrid intelligence that thinks with both logic and emotion. Through the network, human creativity merged with Cytherian computational power. Problems that had seemed impossible suddenly had elegant solutions. Weapons that shouldn't work together began functioning in perfect harmony. The first wave of Council ships opened fire, sending streams of deadly energy toward the Earth fleet. But instead of individual ships dodging desperately, the entire human armada moved as one organism, each vessel perfectly positioned to create interference patterns that turned the enemy's own weapons against them. Impossible, came a transmission from the Eternal Order. No fleet can coordinate with such precision. You're right, Princess Zarathul replied. No single fleet can. But we're not single anymore. We're unified. The battle raged for hours, but it wasn't really a battle in any traditional sense. The hybrid network fought with strategies that pure logic couldn't predict or counter. Human ships suddenly appeared where mathematics said they couldn't be. Cytherian vessels used their weapons in ways that violated their own tactical programming. But the Council fleet was vast, and even with their new abilities, the rebels were being slowly overwhelmed. Princess? General Vortax's voice was strained. My ship is badly damaged. We're losing this fight. Marcus felt the princess make a decision that filled him with both pride and terror. Through their bond, he experienced her plan, and he understood what it would cost. I know how to stop them, she said quietly, but I'll need to interface directly with the silent death weapons. The radiation will destroy my hybrid physiology. No, Marcus said immediately. There has to be another way. There isn't. She touched his face gently, and he felt 20 lifetimes of love flowing through their connection. But my sacrifice won't be meaningless. When I die, all the emotions and memories we've shared will be transmitted into the quantum network that connects every Cytherian in the galaxy. Marcus understood. Every single member of her species would suddenly experience human emotions all at once. The rigid, emotionless Cytherian empire would cease to exist in an instant, replaced by billions of newly awakened beings who finally understood what they had been missing. I can't let you do this alone, he said. She shook her head. Your people need you alive to help guide what comes next, but... She paused, amber veins blazing with inner light. There might be a way for part of me to survive. If you're willing to carry my memories in your mind forever. Marcus didn't hesitate. Do it. The princess moved to the ship's main computer terminal and placed both hands on the interface. Immediately, she began downloading her consciousness into the network, preparing to transmit it to every Cytherian alive. On the view screen, the Council fleet was moving into final position. Hundreds of silent death projectors were charging, ready to bathe Earth in lethal radiation. Goodbye, Marcus, Princess Zarathul whispered. Thank you for teaching me how to feel. She activated the transmission just as the Council opened fire. But instead of death rays reaching Earth, something extraordinary happened. Every silent death projector in the enemy fleet suddenly reversed its polarity, sending waves of healing energy instead of poison. The princess screamed as the feedback destroyed her hybrid physiology, but she held on long enough to complete the transmission. Across the galaxy, every Cytherian suddenly felt love, joy, sorrow, hope, and wonder for the first time in their lives. The change was instant and absolute. The Council fleet stopped firing as their crews experienced overwhelming emotions. Ships that had been ready to commit genocide moments before were now filled with beings weeping at the beauty of the stars. Princess Zarathul collapsed, her crystal skin cracking like shattered glass. Marcus caught her as she fell, feeling their connection growing dim. Did it work? She whispered. Through the fading bond, Marcus could sense the transformation spreading across Cytherian space. Billions of awakened minds reaching out to each other, sharing the gift of emotion for the first time in centuries. It worked, he said softly. Your people are free. She smiled one last time, then her crystal skin went dark and still. Marcus held her body and wept, but through his tears he could feel something amazing happening. Her memories were becoming part of his own consciousness, and through the quantum network they were spreading to every awakened being in the galaxy. The war ended, not with conquest, but with transformation. The Cytherian High Council, suddenly capable of feeling guilt and remorse for the first time, surrendered unconditionally. The rigid caste system crumbled as workers discovered joy in their labor, and artists rediscovered the beauty of creation. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the memorial garden on New Kythera, the first hybrid human Kytherian colony. Around him, crystal trees grew alongside earth flowers, their amber leaves singing softly in the wind. At the center of the garden was a living crystal statue of Princess Zarathul, its surface pulsing with warm light that came from a single drop of human blood preserved at its core. General Vortax, now president of the Free Kytherian Republic, approached across the crystal grass. His silver skin still showed amber veins, and his eyes held warmth that had been impossible before the awakening. "The latest reports from deep space," he said, handing Marcus a datapad. "The Devourers have arrived at the edge of our territory." Marcus read the tactical analysis with interest, but no fear. "How are our new hybrid strategies working?" "Beyond all expectations. The Devourers' logical processes simply cannot comprehend our combined approach. They keep trying to predict our moves using pure calculation. But emotion-guided intuition makes us effectively invisible to their targeting systems." Marcus smiled, feeling Princess Zarathul's memories stirring in his mind. "She would be proud to see what we've built together." "She is seeing it," General Vortax said gently. "Every time one of us feels joy or love or hope, we're honoring her sacrifice. Her gift lives in all of us now." As the alien sun set over the hybrid colony, Marcus watched human children playing with young Kytherians, their laughter echoing through the crystal trees. The galaxy would never be the same, all because one human had chosen compassion over caution, and one alien princess had chosen love over tradition. The future stretched ahead, bright with infinite possibilities.